Banning school books has quickly become one of the divisive debates in some California communities.
Yeah, some school boards facing intense pressure now to remove books and eliminate lesson plans that discuss race or sexual orientation. Tonight, Governor Gavin Newsom is weighing in on the battle.
And KCAL News political reporter Tom Wade is here. Well, Tom, what is the governor doing?
Well, the governor sent out a letter, and he made it very clear where he stands on this issue. But as this is going on, we're seeing some really troubling scenes playing out in school board meetings here in Southern California. The governor says he is ready to fight any school district in the state that tries to ban books that teach about race and sexual orientation. And he, along with the Attorney General, sent a letter to every school board today, putting them on notice. But critics say parents, not Sacramento, should decide what young children learn.
Thanks a lot for tying my hands as a teacher, and I'm going to leave, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, thank you for this morning.
An ugly scene playing out at the Temecula Valley School Board meeting as the board voted 3-2 to reject an elementary school social studies book which contained information about pioneering gay rights figure Harvey Milk. The board's president making this baseless accusation about Milk before voting to ban the book.
Yeah, my question is why even mention a pedophile?
He's not a pedophile.
I beg to differ.
This emotionally charged school board meeting resembles many others from here in Southern California and across the country, where demands are being made to limit discussions of race and sexual orientation. It's a battle Governor Newsom has been waging in other GOP-controlled states.
Republican leaders, they're banning books.
That was Newsom last summer in a commercial that aired in Florida. Now he's taking that message directly to educators here in California, sending out this letter to superintendents and school administrators across the state, warning them not to remove instructional materials. The letter that he sent out reads in part, access to books, including books that reflect the diverse experiences and perspectives of Californians, and especially those that may challenge us to grapple with uncomfortable truths, is a profound freedom we all must protect and cultivate. The letter has the support of some parents, including LAUSD mom Jenna Schwartz, who helped create a group called Parents Supporting Teachers.
I think that our governor and the AG are looking at what's happening in these red states, and we can see the future. We know what happens when you dilute education for children. They become uneducated adults.
In Newsom's letter, he cites more than 1,400 book bans across the country for one of the reasons for his warning to districts over limiting issues that can be taught. The governor has also been sharply critical of GOP Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for signing into law legislation known as the Don't Say Gay bill, which restricts instruction about sexual orientation or gender identity up to 8th grade in Florida.
Talking about families is not a sexual conversation.
The issue of sexual orientation has become a flashpoint at Saticoy Elementary School, where a pride flag was recently found burned. The school is also dealing with the fallout of an assembly scheduled for Friday, where a reading is supposed to happen that mentions same-sex couples. Parents say they should be in charge of when their kids learn about potentially sensitive subjects.
I feel that is something that I should tell my kids, not the school, not the teachers. I watch the words that I tell my kids. I don't know how they're going to tell my kids.
Obviously, I think that children need to be taught about the birds and the bees and everything that goes beyond that, especially in the society that we have today. There's a lot of different issues that kids do need to learn, but I think parents should be the primary driving force behind their kids' education when it comes to gender and sexuality.
Newsom's letter contains over a dozen citations of case law that he says makes it illegal to ban books or instruction based on gender and race. And tonight he's openly inviting school boards that disagree with him to take him on directly. So Pat, Ross, it's getting more and more volatile, more and more intense.
Has any school board actually taken the governor up on his challenge?
You know what? So far, we haven't heard of any, but I'm sure this battle, people like to respond, especially the governor's polarizing in some communities. We might hear from him. We'll see.
Yeah, and all this happened on the first day of Pride.
Yes,
too.
First day of Pride Month. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Tom.